Wonderful. Thank you very much for the kind introduction and for the opportunity to speak here. In terms of disclosures, I am the co-founder and the executive director of a nonprofit helping give away psychological science. My goal in the next 15 to 20 minutes is to upgrade your phones to give you 70 free tools that you could use with the patients that you are working with. So I want everyone to grab your smartphone if you have it handy. There will be very rapid audience participation. Down at the bottom, the title slide is a short link to get a copy of the slides. And I invite you to please share this with your colleagues and other people that also would be interested in free tools to assess patient mental health. So my goals are to share information and resources, to put tools in the hands of people who could use them, and also to connect. This is an international meeting. We're Zooming in from all around the world, and I want to build a network to get suggestions and translations and ways of expanding the toolkit that we have available. I'm 52 years old. And it's interesting to think about the changes in technology around the world in our lifetimes. So when I was less than a year old, we put the first human beings on the moon. I was crawling around the apartment floor of my parents' apartment and people were walking on the moon. In my lifetime, think about the changes in computing power. The small picture at the bottom is the ENIAC, one of the first computers made. It was the size of an entire room. In the top right corner is one of the most expensive portable computers ever in human history. It's the flight computer for the Apollo 11. And if you're holding an iPhone, it is astonishing the changes in technology. The phone that you are holding right now has a clock that cycles 2,000 times faster than the computer that put people on the moon. And it has 10,000 times the storage of the computer that put people on the moon. And the cost has come down so much that many of us have in our pocket a supercomputer more powerful than what put people on the moon. These changes in technology, these decreases in the cost are what are making it possible for me to share the best of the free assessment tools with all of you. So the nonprofit, which I co-founded, the vision of the nonprofit is to bring the best information about psychology and psychological science and assessment directly to the people who would benefit and to keep it free. So this idea started with a graduate student from Singapore working in my lab, and it became a lab project. And the students had so much fun gathering the information and sharing it with people and realizing that they were having an impact. They were helping people even if they had never met them, that it became a student club that then incorporated, that filed with the institution, the IRS in the United States to become a 501c3, and it's kept growing from there. So the original twinkle in the eye was Mian Leong, the student from Singapore, and what started off as the two of us has expanded to have more than 300 volunteers working with us, and a board of directors, which has expanded to include 16 experts from 4 different countries around the world, and not just psychologists, but also psychiatrists, bioinformaticians, lawyers, vice presidents of marketing. So a tremendous amount of expertise, a huge number of volunteers pitching in. And we've reorganized so that we now have our board of directors at the top, and projects that are happening around the world at the bottom, and volunteer leaders who are the middle layer, the middle management, or in a neural network, it's the middle layer that's the connectors where all the action is happening that are connecting the experts on the board to the volunteer teams that are building the resources. Why I was so grateful to have the opportunity to come and speak at this meeting is because it's a nursing conference, and nurses are the front line of healthcare. Nurses work in so many different settings, and they see patients more often than many other professionals do. So you are woven into the fabric of healthcare, and you see people frequently, and you're in the best position to assess what does this individual need and coach them about resources and options. So putting these tools in your hands, upgrading your phones, is the way of reaching the most people, and giving you a way of making suggestions, giving you a way of sending feedback is a way of growing the toolkit and making it more relevant more rapidly. So what I want you to do now is pick up your phone and point it at the top right corner of the slide. If you're holding a phone, then the camera will look at that and say, oh, that's a QR code. I know how to read that. And it will grab a link. If you're holding an Android, like I am, or a non-Apple smartphone, then you may need to install an app that's a QR code reader. So plan B would be to open a browser and type in bit.ly and then HGAPs assess, and that will grab the link. If you open that link, you'll be looking at a screen that says Assessment Center and Introduction and Disclaimers at the top. You now have in your phone 70 free assessments. So again, the way the QR code works is just you point your camera at it, or the short URL, the bit.ly, you could type that into a browser and you just got copies of the measures. We have this organized two different ways. One is as an EPacket. So I remember when I was a kid and I went to the nurse's office, they would give me a clipboard and have me fill out some brief surveys on paper. And we would look at them and the nurse would add up the numbers and come up with a score. This is set up so that one click, you could give the patient the same URL that you just got, the same address, or you could have them look at the QR code, point their phone at the QR code, and one click will then set up the whole EPacket. And so they can fill out the survey on their phone. They could do it in your office. You could email it or text it to them ahead of the appointment. It could be a link on the clinic website. When you look at one of the EPackets, it has a brief introduction. It has, we're based in the United States, so it has a legal disclaimer. It has a demographic section, which is getting very basic demographics. It's not tracking the phone. It's not tracking the IP address. So this is not the way that Google would do it. We're trying to make it so that it's truly, purely anonymous. And then you have the best free scale for that topic or category. And then the last page gives the summary report and it scores it for you. So it's not just giving them the questions, it's also making the subscale scores. And it finishes with links to resources for support, for more information, for treatment options, and tools for clinicians. So links for nurses, psychologists, social workers. What is not in your phone now are commercial tests and things with restrictive licenses. So anything that would cost money, we're not able to give away. It doesn't include cognitive tests. It doesn't include forensic tests. It doesn't include anything that would be considered a category B or higher from a test security standpoint, tests that we're supposed to keep under lock and key and not give away to the general public. The types of resources that are getting included in the summary are free, national, and general resources. So these are ones that would be the phone numbers, the ones with phone numbers, the suicide hotlines and the crisis hotlines. Those will work anywhere in the United States or Canada. The websites will work anywhere in the world, and anyone that can read English would be able to benefit from the advice on these websites. But there's a second goodie bag that got added to your phone as you got this link. The extra goodie bag for nurses and other providers, when you click on that link, that's where the rest of the 70 measures are. And so here, when we're writing for nurses, we don't want to limit you to only one option. So when we look at the anxiety measures, we're giving you several different ones that you could pick from. So this is like an a la carte menu where you could say, okay, for this patient, based on their age, based on what they're talking about as a concern, I think I would rather have them fill out this EPacket. We have many options for you for anxiety measures, for depression measures, for, and again, I'm giving you the slides, so I'm going through this quickly. What I want you to see is, wow, that's a lot that I just got the link for in my phone. We're trying to make the EPackets available in a straight to patient model. So we have been making infographics, putting these up on websites. Some of the student volunteers have made TikToks that are raising awareness about, hey, if you're stressed dealing with COVID, here's a free toolkit that you could use to help you decide, should you reach out to a provider and what type of provider options would be good for you. And we're working on expanding this. So what we have in the first set of links are all things in English, but we would love to translate these. And if we get them translated into Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, Hindi, and Portuguese, we'll gladly accept any translations in any language, but if we could cover those 6, that would reach 4 out of 5 people on the planet. That is either the first or the second language for 4 out of 5 people on the planet. So if you have translations of any of the measures that you would like us to add to the toolkit, please send them to this email address. The campaign that we're working on most actively in the United States is to expand to be able to offer more resources and services to Spanish-speaking families. But again, we're thinking globally, and this is a global nursing conference. And so we would love to go ahead and add this, any other languages that are available as well. For those of you that want to check what's the science behind this, the organization is called Helping Give Away Psychological Science. So if you're curious about the science, you just made my day. And we have another QR code that you could point your phone at where we're building the technical manual in the cloud. So this is not written for patients. This is written for nurses. This is written for the providers that want to know the details. What is the science behind this? How do I know what the different scores mean? We're connecting the tech manual in the cloud to Wikipedia because Wikipedia is the single best way of getting the information to people around the planet. And the pages that we've connected to have been viewed more than 170 million times since we have made these connections. If you go to the tech manual in the cloud, down on the bottom right-hand side is a button that says create a book. And so you actually could get a printed copy of the manual for all of these measures. What you see on the right-hand side is the picture of what, to my knowledge, is the only physical printed copy of that manual. I was curious what would happen if I clicked the print a book, create a book button. And so that's my personal copy from September of 2019. If you are old school like me and you wanted to get a printed paper copy of the book, you could click the same link. And since September of 2019, it's tripled in size. The book is now 643 printed pages long. It would cost $36 US to get a copy of the book. What you're paying for is the printing and the shipping. No money is profit. No money is going to HGAPs. It is just at cost. Here is a printed copy of the manual, but you don't need to print it. The whole thing is up online. The whole thing is connected to your phone now. And that tech manual in the cloud has been viewed more than 300,000 times already. When a patient does a search in their phone, hey, Siri, what's happening with telehealth? What's happening with telepsychology? What Siri and Google are doing is scraping Wikipedia and Wikidata to build these knowledge panels that are showing up on our phones. So putting the information on Wiki is not just reaching patients who go to Wikipedia to read about the issue. The smartphones and the artificial intelligence are making it so that that is going straight to the patient as information on their phone. And the knowledge panels are not touched by a human being. That's getting created by AI. So the organization that HGAPs has gathered a lot of information about providing health services, so assessment, screening, evaluations, therapy over Zoom. We've been on a really steep learning curve since March of last year. This week for us is a 1-week anniversary from when we flipped all of our classes, all of our clinical services to online. So we gathered not just the best assessments, but we gathered the information about what could you use over telepsychology? How would you present it? And we built 2 pages on Wiki, one for providers and a second one for patients. And these 2 are free. You could add them and the links to your phone. We have infographics that we've made, which are designed to be visually appealing ways of distilling the information and giving that straight to patients. Every infographic that we make has a couple key features baked into it. One is a Creative Commons license. So those letters, CC BY, say you're allowed to give it away. You're allowed to send it over email or social media. You could print it out and put it on your office door or on the bulletin board. You could put it in the waiting room, and you don't have to ask us permission. The CC BY just gave you permission to use this however would be helpful. The middle of the infographic has the information, the pro tips about that particular topic. And this is not a bunch of things that a group of students think would be helpful. This is information which has been curated by experts on the topic. And then a link to resources and more information. So these 1-pagers that you could print out or you could send over social media, you could use a variety of different ways. All of them are pre-approved. Give them away. Share them with as many people as possible, and fact check it. And use it as a way of getting even more information, not just the infographic, to the person who would benefit. We've expanded to start a YouTube channel to provide more information. Our first videos are long. We're getting better at making them shorter and shorter so that people can focus on exactly what they're curious about. And we have upgraded our online skills a huge amount as a result of COVID. So COVID-19 has been a crisis, which has also had a silver lining, which has also been an opportunity for us to get better with Zoom, to get better with social media, to get better with giving away the best of the free information. So of course, we have assessment tools that are now connected to your phone about how would you evaluate the impact of on patients of social distancing and social isolation and these measures. And we have infographics about them. So we have assessment tools that are geared towards the general public, plus a pro kit for nurses to use. We have more than 200 pages, 640 pages if you printed them out, of backup detail about the information, a gallery of infographics, pages that are dedicated to coping with specific topics. And so you could have patients do the EPacket. You could send them as a text or an email link. You could pick scales from the extended menu to check in on progress. And the last thing which I wanted to do was to build a network, have you connect with us. So you could go to our website and you could follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn or join the YouTube channel, or you could send us an email and use that as a way of continuing to send suggestions. But please follow us on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. The volunteers are working for free, and seeing the likes and the shares and seeing the follows is the single most rewarding thing you can do to show them, thank you. You're reaching people, you're making a difference with the time that you're putting in. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you on behalf of HGAPs. I'm very excited to share the resources and the ideas. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for helping us share together. Let's make 2021 at least 10 times better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eric Youngstrom, for the interesting presentation. Any questions for Dr. Eric? Any questions you can give in the chat box, or else you can directly ask Dr. Eric.
So if people have the emojis and can do the thumbs up if you hit the link or the QR code. I'm curious how many people we were able to reach, or can do an old school thumbs up. Thank you, Vinika and Hilda and Prakash.
Yes, I do.
All right. Woohoo!